right, all right. All right, all right. Let me know if you can hear me all right there in the chat room, folks. I'm Big Chad. My honor, my pleasure, my privilege to be here with you. Happy to be alive just another day, trying to have some fun. May 15th, 2023, folks in the chat room, let me know that you can hear me. Good that you can hear me. It's been a while since I've done a live stream. I've been living life, doing stuff. I've still been active on Twitter. I've actually been uploading the Twitter Spaces playlist. So let me get you folks caught up and and so what we're gonna do today is I'll do another one of my tweets explained videos where I'm gonna go through in this case a couple weeks of Bitcoin tweets and talk about what I've been saying and do it in hopefully an educational and an honest way, in a way that you can learn from. So let's get this. Let me just double check everything's okay. First, looks good there. Let's get this up in the stream. So I'm going to be going, this will go into the tweets explained, right? And these are like market updates, but really they're the moves explained. I'm renaming it. I've been uploading the Twitter Spaces. So I've been doing these on the Twitter. I did one today, and I do like an Ask Me Anything. And we just talk and through the questions and the answers. The conversation, there's a lot of value in that. There's a lot of alpha, so I've been uploading those. Back on my YouTube, you want to make sure you go to the masterclass technical analysis tutorials. This is a great place to start. You're going to learn a lot from that. On YouTube at Chad's Trading, we showed all that. I am the author of Trading Wisdom, 50 Lessons Every Trader Should Know. You can get the free version of that on my YouTube channel. There's a third of the book up there for you for free. So go ahead and check that out. I did publish back in December Trading Quotes. And it's 365 original quotes from me. And, if you want to check that out as well, I would encourage you to do that. I am a founding analyst at Bitcoin Live. Bitcoin Live is the best in class educational platform for crypto. I do a market update there twice a week. I've been doing that for 5 years, and I haven't missed one in 4 years. Members will know if I'm on vacation, I'm sick, it doesn't matter. I stop and I put up an update. So it's something that's really important to me, something that I do. So that's something I would encourage you folks to think about joining, because this week we have our 5th anniversary sale. It's unbelievable. The price is kind of ridiculous, but you can join. You can get 3 months of membership for $27. It's kind of crazy because, honestly, at regular price, it's an unbelievable deal at regular price, because this is the best team in the world that studies crypto. There's no question. And I've been doing this for 5 years, and we can stand behind the quality of what we do, our track record. There's some folks in the chat room, they say they just joined. When you join, you can go back and see what we've said. Like, it's all there. So I think that's a great idea. If you've ever thought about maybe wanting to join, go ahead and check that out. We have the 5-year anniversary sale. I have a link to that in the description. Of course, we'll talk about Bitcoin. That's why most of us are here. So, I'm going to give you a kind of a basic overview of what I think is going on with Bitcoin, and then I want to walk through these tweets. And I want to do it. In an informational and educational way. So, we've been looking at Bitcoin on the weekly chart, and we had talked about for a long time the inability to get back up above that weekly MA200, right? And how that was showing essentially the weakening, longer term trend was weakening. All right. And so the question here at this point is, can we can we hold the MA200? We seem to be doing that for now. So that's important. But we want to think about this as an inverted head and shoulders with the wide left, narrow right that has completed with a neck baseline right around 25.5, 25K zone, that May 12th low. That was a key data point. And the head and shoulders completed by closing above the neck baseline. And what we anticipated in my analysis and a lot of other people is after we broke out and we completed it, that it was going to take some time to start to digest, to kind of break through the overhead supply or the resistance above. And that's kind of borne itself out. We've seen that happen with the price. Zooming in on the daily chart where we initially started to consolidate, we had this nice little Bollinger pinch, and we made a new high from that. Pardon me, we made a new high. Bollinger Pinch, we made a new high. And then we got this long leg doji with the up thrust and the pullback, the bearish retest. And it's been a case where we've been just really observing the consolidation above that key breakout level, that 25.5K breakout level. We've been observing that consolidation and watching to see does it throw back or does it bullishly retest, throw back? If it does, does it hold? And so we've kind of been in that mode where we observed the breakout, knew it would take some time to digest, and we've been watching the higher low support, the price MA50 relationship, all that stuff, right? All that stuff we've talked about. And you kind of zoom in locally and you say, oh, there's Cheds, I see another Head and Shoulders. And that's fine, but it doesn't really matter because we still are just watching the 25.5K level from the larger Head and Shoulders, the higher time frame. It's more important. That's the secular, the long-term chart is really rolling or flowing off the weekly. So even if you want to draw this, it doesn't matter. Your measured move doesn't matter off of that because you still have to deal with this level. So you're still back to just watching that level. So, that's kind of the mode we've been in. And we zoom in a little bit. Again, if you want to draw your Head and Shoulders, you have to think, okay, did we just have a fake breakdown? Did we just have a deviation, right? Did we dip below the confirmation level? Now we're back up above it. I mean, the fight's not necessarily over, but this nice little hammer candle and the recapture of these range lows, suggestive of a false bear breakdown, and that gives a little bit of momentum, right? A little bit of power to the bulls, and we'll see, can they carry back up? Can they challenge the lower high? Can they recapture the EMA 8? So that's kind of setting the table. I'm going to be, by the way, live streaming probably every day this week. I don't live stream that much, but we've got the Bitcoin Live Again sale going on right now. You do not want to miss this. I am incredibly proud of what we do there. So I'm going to be live more. And I'm going to do YouTube every week, every day this week, except for Wednesday and Sunday, because that's what I'm doing Bitcoin Live. And then I'll be back to my normal schedule. Anyway, so I tried to spread it out because it's been a while since I've done a live stream, and there's a lot of tweets I could choose. So let's go ahead and let's pull it up on the chart, and we'll take a look and see where that is. All right, we're all the way back here. So why would I be going Cheds? Why are you on a 4-hour? Well, you'll see me drop to a 4-hour, after volatility, right? That's the proper time. The proper time to go to a higher time frame, lower time frame rather, is after volatility. So I'm dropping to a 4-hour here. And let me just send out a quick tweet to remind everyone I'm live. So thank you for just waiting here, folks. Come join. All right. So you want to drop to you're going to want to drop to a lower time frame after volatility. So what happened here? This is back in February 17th. Why am I on the 4-hour? Let's go back and see what was happening in the daily. Let's see what's happening on the daily right here. So this is right after. Okay, so I'm dropping to a 4-hour because we just broke the prior range high right here. We're kind of just breaking out, and we are, we're trading above the daily upper Bollinger Band. It's a move outside of a standard deviation of volatility, and we are looking to see, because oftentimes you'll see something like this. You'll see the price will set a floor and do whatever, come back, and you're breaking out above it. And now you're watching to see what's the tightening range, right? You have the high, the low, the lower high, higher low, you get that little tightening range, right? And so we're watching to see, does it continue or does it break down? And so you're watching for that because the price has just broken out, right? And it's in a spot where you're expecting consolidation. So I tweeted out on this day, let's go back to it, 4-hour, is that I'm basically saying we're actually so strong. Like, it's in this candle, and I'm saying we don't even have a lower high yet. Like, we're still searching for a lower high, and that's what I'm saying there, is that it's actually strong. It's really strong because it hasn't even paused to do an equilibrium yet. It hasn't even given us a lower high to then look for a higher low and then look for the tightening range. Like, that's saying, maybe it's going to happen here. Maybe it's going to happen yet. Boom, we're right here at the top of the candle, right? We're closing at the top of this candle. Bulls are still pushing, pardon me, and we still don't have the lower high, which is basically another way of saying it's still pretty strong right now. There's no sign of slowing down or pausing yet. And then we got it in the next candle with this high wave candle. Thank you, Indie Rock. Masterclass is amazing. Thank you, everybody. It's free. It's the free masterclass tutorials. You got to watch these. Great to see you as well, Bufo, as well. Let's see. And appreciate you, Amar. All right, let's go. You read your daughter to bed, book 3. That's so cool. Actually, second highest weekly candle close of June 2022. Let's go to the weekly candle. Talk about some of these tweets and to kind of walk through it. And again, on Twitter, I'm trying to push you to learn. So it just happened. This is just, basically this candle just closed. So it's basically we almost closed above this, but you're basically, I'm like, okay, that's pretty darn powerful. We just had a weekly move, the breakout, the 18.5K long signal. We've talked about that, the lower to upper Bollinger Band move, and then, the bull flag and the mean reversion to the EMA 8, and a breakout, right? A new breakout, boom. It's a great thing to talk about. It's bullish. Everyone loves that. And it's second highest, really only this candle, but pretty much, oh no, so it is the second highest close since, June of 2022, all the way back to June, right? Since here, second highest, pretty much in this whole consolidation range, basically saying in this whole candle series, right? Going back pretty far, it's the second highest close. That means the price is knocking on the door, or the price is near the top of the range. It's and everything is in the context of an acceleration, a mean reversion, and a continuation. What came after that was quite interesting, and hopefully I have these on March. So we just had this candle close. We just closed the weekly candle. It's a Sunday night. We're at 24.2 and observing both fear in the market as well as a beautiful candle. So there was a lot of fear in the market right here. And it was really interesting to see that. Let's clean it up a little bit and then I'll put it back. Right? It was a lot of fear in the market. We did consolidate at that point. We did consolidate. We did drop back to the MA20, but there was a lot of fear, even though it was bullish. And it was a very strange point where the sentiment wasn't really matching what you would think. And people normally, after this type of a price move, people would be celebrating, but you didn't see any of that. And I found that to be kind of interesting. And I think a lot of people were already deciding the price was going to reject. The price would not make a head and shoulders, or they weren't even really looking at it at that point. They were really thinking this is just going to kind of, stall out here and roll back over. MA 200 underside rejection. And, it was just interesting to see that we had a beautiful candle close and people were still. So moving averages, and I talk about that a lot in the masterclass series. Ched's trading again. Check out the masterclass series. So what is going on here in the weekly chart is the battle of the 834 cross and this is really interesting. Yeah, look at that. So, here's your death cross, and that's the whole thing with death cross. We're starting to get a death cross, but we're flexing a potential bull cross of the shorter term moving averages, right? So the 8 and 34, they're exponential moving averages. You kind of look at the history of the 8 and 34, like here, right? The mean reversion failed. 8 failed to cross the 34. Even here on the way back down, it still had another leg in it. And you can see it better on the daily chart if we go back to the acceleration to, for example, this first high we made in April of 2021. You'll note how every time, that primary support, the 8 came to the 34, it held, then it finally bear crossed, right? And we see here, tried to cross, it was unable to, tried to cross, it was unable to, and then boom, we crossed and we had a nice follow through on that. So, so the 8 and the 34 are pretty solid if you want to use those in your trading system. And so it's a short-term sign that, the price is potentially bottoming. And in the context of this, when we're looking at this, we've already got the deviation below, right? And we've already got, the price making a lower high break. So you've got kind of all these other signs already of weakening bear trend, evident. And so you're looking at this, okay, what's going on here? Are we going to get this 834 bull cross, or do I pay attention to this 5200? This 5200 is really slow, and it really doesn't tell us anything. We don't already know, right? We already know we're going to play both, the 50 and the 200 individually. Here underside, we play that way, underside, we play that way, underside. But the fact that they're crossing, didn't really tell us anything, because we already know what level needed to be flipped, and we already, again, as I said, we had the evidence of the weakening bear force with the deviation and jumping back into the range and the lower high break. I mean, so we're just not getting any information from that. You just get a little bit better track record here with the 8 and the 34, the potential, both the MA 200 bear cross and the 834 bull cross, and so it's the battle of those, right? Which one's gonna win out? The bulls won that one, right? The bulls continued. We did get the bull BTC absolute snoozer price action. We'll get to your questions, folks, in a minute. I'll take a look at the chat room, answer any questions. So absolute snoozer, nothing's going on, and this is right here, right before the big drop. So I got, they say don't. Oh yeah, it's a nice little setup. I'll kind of zoom in there. Okay. Yeah, I mean, look at that. That's a nice little stair-stepping setup, right? So how did that play out? Let's go back to the daily chart. That looks pretty nice. Boom, stair step. Okay. I mean, you get a little bounce. It actually went lower before that, but it was looked to be setting up for a nice trade. So we had a little bounce from there, not that much. It bounced about a G from there. But at that time, you're only working off of what you have, and you're in an uptrend, and you're looking to buy a dip. So what are the signals we looked at, and how did those play out? All right, so let's zoom in right now. Let's take a look. And I'll try to make it so we only knew what we knew at the time. So I'll put that right there. Okay. It's basically right there. So BTC daily bounce off the EMA 34 plus 22.8 horizontal. I'll show that after I show this first part. 4H outside bar after multiple doji. So the price is coming down. Look at the force compression, the momentum compression in the candle bodies. You get decent body, doji, a couple spinning tops, medium bodies, pushing down, and then inside bars, these tiny little, well, just the one inside bar, or really just two doji, sorry, rather, two small bodies or two stars. You have the kind of bigger candles and a couple smaller bodies. That's momentum kind of slowing down, getting compressed, right? And then the outside bar, this big outside bar outside the range of those prior candles. I talk about outside bars in trading wisdom. It's a classical charting concept. Again, people confuse it with the bullish engulfing. The bullish engulfing refers to the candle body. But you see, when you see a couple doji sideways and the boom green outside bar, that's like, okay, that's a nice 4-hour signal. And even though you're underside EMA 8, you want to be careful there. This nice little candle combo is going to get your attention. And so the combination of that on the daily, we go to the daily and see what was the context on the daily when we got that signal. Okay, that was the context on the daily, and we're right here at the EMA 34. Let's clean it up. Again, what did we know at the time? Right? It was a beautiful setup at the time. It didn't follow through. You had a decent trade, but not the full follow through. But you're at EMA 8, 34, right? You got the support of the 34 exponential. It held here. It had held, and you have a tweezer bottom. Even though it's at the middle channel, it's still a solid tweezer with that 4H candle signal. So it's one of those things, again, why are we on the 4-hour chart? It's because the price is at a key level. When do we go to lower time frame? When the price is at a key level, after volatility. You just longed. Is it okay? Longed what? What does that mean? And what's your plan? What's your stop loss? What does it mean? I just long what? What does that mean, right? You have to define your risk through on this candle. It just went a little bit higher, sideways, then it failed, right? and then we lost range low support. The tweezer got violated, and all this happened. And I have more tweets that's going to go through all this. All this week, I'm doing live streams, folks, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then maybe Monday again, because the Bitcoin live sale, it's the best-in-class educational platform for crypto. By the way, go to the public blog. You can see some free reports. I have a couple, reasonably recent ones. March 13th one. The sale is ridiculous right now. The quarterly membership sale. I really encourage everybody to check it out. So that's why I'm streaming right now. And I'll be streaming a lot this week, and I'm going to go over all of this price action. I have all these tweets. I'm kind of do a couple 2 weeks within each video because I have a lot of stuff. Okay, so what am I saying? It'll be if the sub to and it turned out to be a deviation. Look at that. So what I was talking about was this. It felt to me like bulls had momentum coming into, let's go this first tweet. It felt to me like bulls still had pretty good momentum here. And I'm looking at the price above this support level already established, right? The high of early November, and I'm looking at here the high of middle of January. This is so true. Everyone's a great trader. That's right, brother. You're so right. That's so right. Chez was calling for 9K. No, I didn't call for 9K. I actually called for 12K back when the price is over 40. When the price is at 40K, I was basically saying the price is going to go below 20 and potentially as low as 12. And we went as low as 15.5, right? I missed the nut bottom, but I got long here at 18.5, and I tweeted it out live. So I sold pretty much most of it above 60K. And then at 40K, I said we were going to 12. We only went to 15.5. So, I mean, it's not perfect, but, I'd say that's pretty good, brother. So, that's a pretty good call. And that's a good point. You're never going to nail the exact bottom. The goal is really to get the meat of the move, right? So, and you can see all the stuff. It's on Twitter. It's all there. I don't delete any tweets or anything like that. So what I'm talking about here is that bulls have momentum. Yeah, I pivoted at 18.5. Every you had to go long. I was expecting us to go to 12K until we reclaimed this lower high. And I was clear about that. That was pretty devastating for bears. At that point, the fact that it did not reject here. So, let's see. 12K, of course, because that was a logical. We could talk about that. It was a logical level, and if you think about it too, right? And we'll get a little bit off topic here, but it's a great thing to kind of talk about and to point to. So back when we're trading right around this level, right? This is back in April 2022. I started thinking we were going all the way down here, right? And we went most of the way. We got down to here. We didn't make it all the way, but because to me, I was looking at the underside 50. We talked about the up thrust here. Remember, I pointed out when Bitcoin topped, and kind of followed it on the way down, the daily EMA 34 action, all that stuff. But my thinking was that it just seemed like we were going to test 30K, and just given the momentum, and I figure you can test 30K, you can break it, you're probably going to break it. And there wasn't really much support between 20 and 30K. So what I was thinking was, again, this is my thesis back when we're at 40K, right? And this is why I started to call for 12K. And I reference this video every time, twice a week, when I post the link to Bitcoin Live. You can see the clip of me in March of last year talking about this, right? The price probably going to 12K. My thinking was that we didn't have support between 30 and 20K. And if you hit 20K, I'm looking for that deviation, that quick dip below to get everyone to panic sell. And we had it. It just didn't go as low as I thought, right? So, that's the thing about TA. You're rarely going to get lucky. And I think I got pretty lucky calling the top on the day it happened, right? Back in November. I called the top on the day it happened. I think I got pretty lucky because normally you're going to get it within, a certain range. It might take a couple days after, but there was something about that setup. But I did not get the exact bottom. I'm honest about that. I didn't get long till 18.5 table, right? So bulls had just broken out, right? And so bulls had incredible momentum at this point. And then we have the lower high break. You get this level pretty well established. And I'm thinking, okay, a lot of people are already calling top and they're saying, Bitcoin's done, the top is in here. I'm thinking, ooh, be a shame if this move below that level turned into a deviation, right? That's what I'm saying here. It'd be a shame for bears. It's basically me saying, look out, watch out for deviation. It took a few days and boom, range recapture and another push up to 25K, right? And then we hit 25K, which is the logical level to pause. It made all the sense in the much to say other than that. So basically saying like, here's what's going on, right? So what does this all mean? Let's clean it up. Let's look at it. Let's go on the weekly chart. Clean that up. Okay. Here we are. So we didn't form this beautiful candle yet, the March 6th hammer off the middle Bollinger. I'm basically saying, okay, all right, we've got a tweezer here. So we're going to pause. It makes sense. It's a tweezer to be expected because the price has broken out, continued, and accelerated into overhead supply or resistance. Thank you, Tommy Land. Good to see you, buddy. Appreciate that. And accelerated into that kind of overhead supply, that resistance level, right? So it's a tweezer, and it's to be expected because you're expecting some type of a short-term pausing signal. Now we're watching for the right shoulder to form inverted head and shoulders, right? So this is me basically saying, I think we probably formed a left shoulder. You can call it a wide left or a complex, which is multiple shoulders. Here's your head. And so where's our right shoulder? Is it here? If you go back to my Bitcoin live analysis, it's kind of all I talked about. Most of what I talked about in here is we're looking to see where the right shoulder forms, because once you form a right shoulder, you've then set up an invalidation level as well, right? We already know the confirmation level. This is simple. This is basically head and shoulders 101, right? Head and shoulders. Let's get this guy out of the chat. Looks like a spammer. There we go. It's one of those like fake WhatsApp names with like a number and anyway, so we already knew like with head and shoulders, right? With the shoulder, head, it's being a little goofy, but that's fine. Shoulder, head, shoulder, your confirmation level, and then you have your invalidation level, right? Where the because every pattern needs that. You need to know where it both confirms and where it invalidates. So it's what I was talking about a lot in Bitcoin Live, and this is me summarizing here on Twitter, right? Tweets are to be expected at the high time frame neck baseline is the neck baseline of the inverted head and shoulders. We're looking for this right shoulder to form. A little bit early because we hadn't formed the shoulder yet, but it felt like it was, to me, in my judgment, that it was forming a head and shoulders. So there it is, and to be expected. Not much to say other than that. And to me, it was also pretty obvious too. So for me, I'm just kind of, let's see, to be expected. Appreciate that. Yeah, I definitely like to call it my bad calls. I don't think the 12K was. I actually think the 12K call was a really good call. I mean, I called it from 40K, and we went to like basically 15. So I think that's actually one of my better calls. But I did call for alt season recently, and that was a bad call, and I tweeted that out in Twitter. So I'm more than happy to acknowledge a bad call, because you have to. I think it's there. Let's clean that up. Let's go there. Let's go there. There it is, and it tags the D. Oh, this is a little bit out of order earlier when we talked about the 4-hour outside bar set up after the multiple doji, and this was in that. If some of the stuff I talked about tonight like didn't make sense, right? The academic stuff, you want to go to the masterclass technical analysis tutorials playlist. There's 3 beginner and 1 advanced masterclass. And what I do is I teach you the basic concepts in classical charting and Japanese candlestick analysis, essentially Western and Eastern TA. And I talk about volume, candlestick signals, patterns, how to use them, risk management. You really want to check these out. This is going to go into the Tweets Explained playlist, where I'm basically, I tweet a lot of stuff, and sometimes it's a little bit academic. And my goal is for you to be able to understand it better. Let me just get this. Let's see, 1 second here. Just for you to be able to understand it a little bit better. Ask me anything BTC. These are my Twitter Spaces. I've been doing Ask Me Anythings on Twitter. I did one today. I usually do like a couple a month where I just get 20, 30 questions from people, real honest, trading questions, and it creates a really nice conversation. So definitely check that out, especially if you're a newer trader. A lot of good info there for you. I am, of course, the author of Trading Wisdom, 50 Lessons Every Trader Should Know. That's done quite well. And I appreciate that. I thank you for your support. I have 1/3 of that book up for free on my YouTube channel in the Trading Wisdom playlist. I also published Trading Quotes back in December. There's an audiobook for that as well. So I encourage you to check that out. I'm a founding analyst at Bitcoin Live, the best-in-class educational platform for crypto. I do a twice-a-week full market update. I've been doing that for 5 years. I am incredibly dedicated, incredibly proud of the work we do there as a team. It's a world-class team. Check out the public blog to see some of the recent reports that are free. We actually have a sale right now, which is unbelievable. You get 3-month membership. Your first 3 months, it will renew at regular price for $27, which is ridiculous. And even, I'm telling you, even at full price, this is an unbelievable value. You get access to everyone's content. Okay. You can sign up and go watch 500 videos from me alone. Right. It's all alpha. And I'm just one guy and just a wonderful team. I mean, it's just an unbelievable team. So if you ever thought about joining, this is the time to do it. You can pay, Bitcoin or credit card. Just check out. There'll be a link in the video thing. This is fun. I enjoyed going live and doing YouTube. I'm going to do another one tomorrow. I'll do one Thursday. I'll do one Friday. I'll do one Saturday. And that's it. We're going to have some fun this week. So I appreciate you folks hanging out with me here on YouTube. I'm going to wrap it up here with a little dance. And I just want to say thank you. I hope everybody's doing well. And we'll talk soon. Oops. Try again.